If you have an Android phone or a Windows computer, you can chuck your hotspot and radio in the bin. Why? There's an app called DroidStar that lets you connect directly into the networks for all the commonly used digital voice modes like DMR. By default, this app doesn't include the Ambi vocoder that's necessary to listen or talk on any of these networks, so the only mode you can really use is the open source M17 mode. You're meant to be able to load in the Ambi vocoder so you can use all these digital modes. But I tried and I couldn't get it to work. However, there's a secret version of DroidStar available that has the vocoder already included, which lets you cut out the outdated, unnecessary and wasteful step of using a radio and just go straight into the network with your phone or computer. Just think of all the space you can free up in your home by throwing out all your radios and hotspots. Your wife will be delighted. But seriously, why might you want to try this app out? There are a number of reasons, like wanting to try out these newfangled digital modes before you invest real money and buy a radio, or wanting to try a different digital mode using a different vocoder that you don't have a radio that's compatible with, like D-Star or P25 if you currently have a DMR or NXDN radio. Maybe you want to try out the M17 mode without having to modify your radio or buy special hardware for it, or maybe you don't want to carry around a radio and hotspot to join a particular net you like to take part in when you're travelling. Another benefit of DroidStar is that you can use it in public without everyone staring at you and thinking you're an undercover police officer or something. So if you want to try out this special version of DroidStar that includes the Ambi vocoder, or at least a vocoder that's compatible with Ambi, you can ask around and try and get the number of a local shady software dealer. Arrange to meet them in a dark alleyway at night, where they'll hand you a USB stick with the software on. Once you've retreated to a safe location with the software in hand, copy it over to your Android phone. It doesn't support iOS because Apple loves to lock everything down, so iPhones don't allow you to install apps if they're not from the App Store. Install the APK on your phone, put your call sign and DMR ID in, assuming you're going to be using it on DMR, and don't forget your hotspot password if you're using a network that requires that. After that, just switch back to the main tab, select an appropriate server, put in the talk group you want to use, and then click connect. If you're using a talk group that's not set as static, then you'll have to transmit briefly to connect to it, but then it should work and you should be receiving. To transmit, you just use the button down here. From here on, you can pretty much use it like any other radio. Anyway, for all the Luddites who want to keep using their radios and hotspots, to be fair, there are some benefits of that. The sound quality of using a real DMR radio, or one of the other modes, seems better to me than using DroidStar. DroidStar has the same sound as DSD and DSD+, and I suspect the vocoder is based on the same MBE-lib project.
Kilo Delta 9 Yankee Hotel Oscar, Victor Kilo 5 Charlie Foxtrot Whiskey. Roger, Victor Kilo 5 Charlie Foxtrot Whiskey. I hear you loud and clear. You're coming in right into Indiana in the United States of America. Over to you, my friend. Sorry, Tyler, you're coming in 5 by 9 into Port Pirie. It's about 220 kilometres north of Adelaide in South Australia, over.
Another reason to keep using a radio is that radios usually have a push-to-talk button, which is quite convenient and is missing from most phones. DroidStar disconnects you if you turn the screen off, so you can't exactly put it in your pocket or on your belt and leave it running like a normal walkie-talkie. Well, I guess you could, but you might end up accidentally butt dialing your ex. Another reason why it's better to keep your radio and hotspot is if your hotspot stops working or the internet goes down, you can always use radios to talk to other people on radios without going over the internet. sometimes as far away as hundreds of meters. It could be even more than that if you use a repeater, which rebroadcasts your signal over a wide area without using the internet at all. In fact, a common pastime of technophobes who don't use the internet is to transmit using a radio into one of these repeaters and see if someone replies to them. The person that replies might even be quite nearby and happen to be a member of the same ham radio club as you. I think DroidStar is a great piece of software and a good complement to traditional radio use. If it interests you, then I encourage you to try it out. But despite what I said at the start of this video, even if you only ever use your radios with a hotspot, I don't really think you should throw your radios and hotspots out anytime soon, and I certainly won't be. There's something special about talking to someone over the air that just can't be replicated online. For me, I think it's the amazement that my signal is travelling all that distance. It's not knowing whether you'll be able to establish communications with someone. It's experimenting with different ways to make your communications better, like trying out a new antenna, trying out a different digital mode, and seeing how it performs at low signal strength. Or taking your radio to the top of a hill and trying to hit a repeater you can't reach from home. I'd appreciate it if you could click the like button if you enjoyed this video. If you hated the video, you can click the dislike button, and feel free to leave a comment to tell me why, because I'm always trying to improve my videos and I'm happy to accept constructive criticism.